Good morning. It is Friday, the 7th of March, 2025. Well done for making it this far. Thank you very much to Graham Haller, first and foremost, for the £10 super chat. That's very kind of you. I will give you a little super chat. Thank you thing. Yeah, it's all good. Who else have we got in the chat? We've got Paula Thomas in there. We've got Anne Phillips. We've got Martin Harrow. We've got Diz. We've got Nick and Diff. Hi, Nick. Over in Cardiff, we've got MH Carer. Hi, I got your message. I'll be back. I'll get back to you. Definitely, yes. We've got, who else have we got in there? We've got Anya. We've got Anne Phillips. We've got Lee Noble. If you'd like to join them in the chat, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, that lovely juicy subscribe button underneath the video, and you will be able to join the chat. But don't be a knob or we will kick you off. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the fight back against Trump, brackets, but not in America. So, first of all, the free world is rallying against Trump. They're rising up against Trump. They're railing against Trump, rebelling against Trump and his Putin-aligned treachery. But what I want to ask today is, where the hell are the Americans? We talked about this a bit before, but let's have a look at the contrast between resistance and capitulation. And first of all, I'd like to point out that America's very much rapidly becoming Billy No Mate. So we've all been there, right? We've all been in the situation, maybe we've been in it ourselves, in which we fall for a wrong'un, and that wrong'un makes us sack off all of our friends. Like, we don't see our friends anymore because wrong'un won't allow it. Wrong'un wants you to stay with them all the time and not go out and not see anyone and not do anything unless it involves them. You know, that kind of muzzling kind of, I always think of Pepe Le Pew when he's trying to romance a poor cat that's had a line drawn down the back of her, so he thinks it's another skunk. I mean, Trump is basically petulant, fat Pepe Le Pew, isn't he? You know, Pudgy Pepe. Maybe that's what we should call him. You know, he likes to have little nicknames for everyone, doesn't he? Maybe we should call him Podgy Pepe. Yeah. By the way, to Graham Hallett, he did write something in the fund in case you drop the C word. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I should read out the super chats when they do come, but I'll try not to say C unit. I'll just say C unit instead, even when I'm talking about someone who's an absolute clanging C unit. Anyway, so we've all been in this situation where either one of us or one of our friends has gone into a toxic relationship and they only have eyes for that person, and that person manipulates them into not going out, not seeing anyone. It's a reason for a lot of people getting divorced when they wake up after years of marriage and go, hang on, I never see me mates anymore. And it's because of this sort of narcissistic, Pepe Le Pew, grab hold of them, don't let them go anywhere, don't let them see anyone in case they leave me, which is really sad. And I find that attitude really sad, just in relationships. But this is what Trump is now doing with Putin. He's basically what Putin's doing with Trump. Putin is saying to Trump is sack off all of your mates, sack off all of your allies, piss them off, put tariffs on them, say you're not going to protect them, do all this horrible shit to your friends. Just stay with me. Just stay with me, Donny. Just stay with me, Danny. Says Vladimir Putin to Donald Trump. And Trump's just oh, yes, please. Yes, please. I mean, it's so sick that the leader of the free world is chumming up with the leader of the not free world. You know? Can you see this? It's like they should be, on a democracy scale, they should be diametric opposites, but they're not. Because Trump doesn't give a fuck about democracy, doesn't give a fuck about you, doesn't give a fuck about me, doesn't give a fuck about world peace or climate change or anything except chumming up to Putin and making loads of money for himself and his mates. Well, I say mates, he doesn't really have friends. He just has people he uses until he tires of them, and then he discards them. They go to jail or die. Like in the case of Epstein, you go to jail and you die. I want to be one of his friends. Anyway, so there's this massive contrast at the moment between sort of resistance and capitulation. Not just, the rest of NATO, excluding America, but also the Americans. I'm sorry, but I'm still absolutely raging about the fact that the Democrats wore pink. I've seen loads of commentators pointing this out, going, what the... Yes. We fought against Hitler. Oh, what did you do? Well, we turned up to the Reichstag, right? And we wore odd socks. Okay, opposition against Hitler in the 1930s. Great, well done. You wore odd socks. That stopped the Holocaust, didn't it? And then, take it to the next level. Al Green, a veteran member of the House, was thrown out, and no one supported him. No one stood up for him. No one. I'll come back to this later because this is there's something even more raging about this, but I'll have to pick it up later. So Canada is boycotting American goods. Good, we should do the same thing. Banning US liquor, slapping tariffs on over $30 billion worth of stuff, and rallying in the streets. They're booing at hockey games. They're making it very clear that they are not happy with America. They're not happy with America constantly needling them, disgracefully disrespecting them, calling their prime minister the governor, constantly referring to Canada as the 51st state, just generally being arseholes about it. Europe had a meeting yesterday. The head to the EU had a meeting yesterday. We weren't invited because we're not part of the EU anymore, thanks to Russia and Russia's familiars in this country, like privately educated Nigel Farage, privately educated Aaron Banks, privately educated Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Boris Johnson, and Michael Gove, and who else was all for Brexit? Andy Wigmore, privately educated. Dominic Cummings, privately educated. Isabel Oakeshott, privately fucking educated. Can you see a pattern? Richard Tice, privately educated. Can you see a fucking pattern here? Can you see a pattern? Lawrence Fox, privately educated. Went to Harrow, darling. Went to Harrow. The Glastonbury lineup came out yesterday, so I went through them all and saw we went to private school. God. I added a good few names to the private school mafia list. I haven't uploaded it yet because it used to be dynamic. Like I used to be able to add a name and then it would dynamically come up on the website, but they changed the website. You had to pay for that service now, so I had to laboriously update the massive spreadsheet of over 1,220 names and the schools they went to and their professions, and I have to import that into my website. So it's a bit of a faff. It's not as easy as it used to be because people like money. Although free service, I guess. It's nice to get stuff for free. You don't have to pay to watch the show, do you? No, of course you don't. But some do. Some people drop in loads of money. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Anyway, moving on. Europe had this meeting yesterday where they have decided, this is across Europe, to massively increase defence spending, preparing to rearm, that's the title, Rearm Europe, and even discussing an independent nuclear deterrent. With the missiles from the UK and France being used as a nuclear umbrella for the whole of the continent. Meanwhile, going back to America, so Al Green, the fact that he wasn't given any support when he left the chamber in Trump's speech the other day pissed me off no end. But you know what's even pissed me off even more? The so-called opposition, yeah? The Democrats whose job it is to oppose. 10 of them just voted yesterday to censure their own colleague, Al Green. To censure their own colleague for making a fuss. Wow. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. The Americans won't fight for their own democracy. How can we expect them to defend anyone else's? We can't. This is it. It's over. It is so over. I mean, there was a little bit of a flame of hope in me that maybe, just maybe, right, the opposition in America could get the shit together, right, and stop Trump doing the maddest shit that he wants to do. But they're not. Hate to say it, but you can't rely on them. Like I said, told you so. You can't rely on America now. America are not our friends. America are not our allies. They have aligned with Russia, and the opposition in America think that the best way to fight against your president chummying up to the most evil, brutal dictator of the 21st century, the man who has killed more people than any other mad, merciless dictator this century. That's saying something. That is really saying something. They're not going to help us. America's gone. Forget about it. It's gone. But what does give me hope is the fact that the rest of the world seems to have got they've got the memo, you know? Got the message. America's not coming to help ever again. They're going to be friends with Putin, and they're going to enjoy being miserable Russian people, I guess. I don't know. You know, I was thinking about this morning. Like, I'm sorry to offend any of my, cisgender het friends, but honestly, if I go out for a night out with my gay mates, I have such a better time. No offense to all you heteros out there, but man, if I go out with my trans friends, I even have a better time than I do with my gay friends. I'm just saying, if you want to have a good time, the best people to hang out with aren't necessarily your middle-aged, white, middle class, Middleton motherfuckers like what I am. Just saying. But why in America? They're like, oh no, we don't want a party. We don't want Mardi Gras. We don't want colours and life and joy. No, we want everyone miserable and grey and brutalist. Yeah. Want everything to look like the Soviet Union. Fucking Tetris. I am the man who arranges the blocks that come to me from Kazakhstan. Anyway, if you haven't heard the history of the Soviet Union to the song, the music of Tetris, check it out. Check it out after this. So Canada, like I say, is that they are sort of like the unexpected leader of the resistance, which I love. I love the fact that like Canada, to me, it's like this little swotty nerd, and I'm a bit of a nerd, so that's all right. And they're sitting there with the nose in a book like this. Oh my god, I just opened it on Kaliningrad. Shit. It's a book of maps. I just opened it on Kaliningrad. Look, and then like the bullies bullying someone over there, and they're like this. And they put the book down. And they take the glasses off. And they let the hair out. All the hair. This. And then they literally go like this, and it's like fucking He-Man. It's like muscles bulge out the top, and they just walk over, bang. See you later, bully. And everyone's like, yes, thank you, nerd man reading the book, who was actually built like a brick shit house. Thank you. So like Canada's kind of done that. They're just going, yeah, look at me. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford slapping tariffs on US electricity to millions of Americans. The way he described this was he said, I will shut off the electricity and I will smile as I do it. And Canadian unity is at a all-time high, even after Trudeau's downfall. And one thing that Trump has done is he's really turned around the prospects for Trudeau's party, which is going to be taken over by the former governor of the Bank of England, who is going to be standing up against Trump for the foreseeable if he wins, because the Poilievre, or whatever his name is, the stupid right winger, he looked like he was just going to walk. He just like he was going to walk this election. Well, now it looks like it's going to be quite a tight race, which is kind of cool. Europe's awakening. So like the NATO crisis and the Starmer-Macron axis. Europe's defence spending surges. We're talking about 150 billion euros of new spending, and talk of a nuclear umbrella, an unprecedented effort to step up without the United States of America. Let's take it out the picture. Like you remember the Seahorses, the guy John Squire from the Seahorses. He from the Stone Roses. He had a new band in the mid-90s called the Seahorses. And on the front cover, I always remember they had like a jigsaw of the globe of the world, and there was a missing piece, and the missing piece was America. That's where we are right now. Keir Starmer's leadership. Can UK become the backbone of European unity? I fucking hope so. That's what I want. That's what I want. Get us back in the EU. By the way, there is a petition that has been signed by over 100,000 people. So it's going to be debated in the House of Commons. But because it's only been signed by 100,000 people, it probably won't get that far. I'm going to just type this in, see if I can find a link to it while I'm talking to you. But what we could really do with is apply for, yes, fantastic. So this is going to be debated on March the 24th, okay? So what I want you to do, everyone in the chat here, if you could, either now or after the show, please click on that link and sign the petition. It's only on 127,000 at the moment. If we get this out to all of our old Remain, Rejoin, pro-EU friends, we could get over 1 million signatures on this easily before the 24th, right? Now, I know that the government has already responded saying, well, it's not in the manifesto to rejoin the EU, blah, 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 blah. But if we get 1 million signatures, it will become a news story. We have to get into the news agenda. We have to get on the news headlines. Oh my God, 1 million people have signed this petition saying get us back into the EU as soon as possible. And it's kind of like a really good timing for it, because it means that our politicians who are on our side, the MPs who want to rejoin Europe, will have some backing to say 1 million people have signed this petition. So please sign it, share it, get it out there, sign it a few times, different addresses, different names, whatever, I don't care. Is that illegal? I don't know. If it's illegal, don't do it. If it isn't illegal, do it. Like most things in life. But this is Macron's stark warning. Europe must stand alone. But not quite, because we have Canada. We have Mexico, who obviously Trump has pissed off. We have Australia. We have New Zealand. We have Japan. We have Singapore. We have the Commonwealth. Fuck it. Bring them on board. Bring them on board. We've got the EU. We have a lot of power, really, really, against Trump. And what they want to do is go, oh, but we're so big and powerful. And but let's not forget that America hasn't really won a war for a very, very long time. Hasn't won a war on its own since forever. It wouldn't have won World War II. We wouldn't have won World War II had it not been for the Russians on the Eastern Front. Don't forget, it was the Russians who first got into Berlin. That's why Hitler probably shot himself. I think if the Allies had got into Berlin, then he probably would have given himself up and stood trial and all that kind of bullshit. But no, he thought, well, I hate to think what will happen. The Russians get hold of me, so he topped himself. But yeah, they didn't win in Korea, really. They just had a dividing line between North and South, and that's still the case. They're technically still at war, so that war has not been won because they're technically still at war. They didn't win the war in Vietnam. They had to evacuate Saigon like a bunch of lunatics, which is now Ho Chi Minh City. And the Viet Minh, or the Viet Cong, as Americans like to call them, took over the whole country, so didn't win there. Then you had the situation in Kuwait, which was arguably, that was a success. We got the Iraqis out of Kuwait. You know, this sovereign country had invaded someone else's sovereign country and tried to take it over. And we said, no, you can't invade and take over someone else's sovereign country. No one said, oh, but they're not in NATO. Oh, but they threatened Saddam Hussein like they were threatening him. The Kuwaitis, they were threatening him with the little tiny country sandwiched between Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Okay. Anyway, we went in and we arguably a success, but maybe we should have taken it all the way to Baghdad and taken out Saddam Hussein there and then, but we didn't. And that came back to bite us in a way, because when we did decide to go back a few years later, it was an absolute bloody disaster. Actually, it probably would have been a disaster had we done it in the 1990s as well. What was your plan there? Was it to stop terrorism, was it? All you did was make more terrorism going into Iraq the second time. What was the plan in Afghanistan? Get rid of the Taliban. Although Trump, let's not forget, betrayed the free world by having meetings with the Taliban. He had a minerals deal going with the then president of Afghanistan in the 2010s, and it was 2017. He had a mineral deal, which he backtracked on and had meetings with terrorists, had meetings with the Taliban, and arranged things so that the Taliban could take over. the US and the UK and the other troops that were positioned there, international peacekeepers, they could have stayed. There was no reason to pull them out, except that Trump just likes carnage and brutalism and being a bastard, being a horrible little bastard who just likes to kill people left, right, and centre. Thank God Labour is in, says Jane Lockwood. Couldn't agree more. God, could you imagine if Kemi Badenoch was our Prime Minister right now? Jesus. Anyway, so yeah. And then we've got Ukraine's defiance, fighting on without the US. The US have turned off the lights, they've turned off the communications, they've turned off the supplies of weaponry and ammunition that has been promised, that has been voted on by Congress, overruled by Trump. Zelensky's EU summit attendance and the push for a Europe-led security guarantee. So he was there yesterday at the conference and basically getting on very well with the European leaders in a way they didn't get on very well with Trump and JD Vance, because they treated him like shit and they should be fucking embarrassed of themselves for the way they behave. But they have no. They can't be embarrassed. That's the thing about these people. They're brought up in a bubble of privilege in which they never feel bad about anything they did in the past. They have no regrets. They have no imposter syndrome. They're really just not good people. They're shit people. They're the shittiest people ever, and they're now in charge of the fucking, the free world. Well, or not. We're breaking away. We're making our own free world, free of America. And you know what? We're going to be happier and we're going to be healthier as a result, because we're going to be eating less of their fucking junk food for a start. That'll help. We're going to be not relying on them for all of our fucking entertainment needs. That'll help. Maybe we could have a resurgent British film industry. Maybe we could actually have an industry. I mean, it's more of like a little cottage industry at the moment. You make about 70 films. You've not heard of about 69 of them. You may not have heard of 70 of them. And we don't make that many films. They're all low budget. They're all shit. You might like them as a sort of art house thing. Yeah, great. But I've got to get this through to people in Britain. It's show business. If your film does not make its money back at the box office, there's no point in making a freaking movie, because you'll have no more money to make another one. It's show business. No one turns up. You're telling your story to a brick fucking wall. You've got to have an audience. And that's the two questions. Let's go back to this. Two questions, right? If you pitch, I've pitched film ideas and scripts and things in America, and I've pitched them over here. The first question they ask when you pitch a film over here to anyone, doesn't matter. It could be a producer, could be a writer, could just be a person in the street. The first question the British ask is, how are you going to pay for it? I don't fucking know. It sounds expensive. How are you going to pay for it? Well, we'll get some investors, and if they like money and it's a successful film, then they'll make their money back. Yeah, but how are you going to pay? Meanwhile, in America, whenever I pitch, the first question they ask is, who's the audience? That's what they want to know. Who's the audience? They don't give a fuck, because they know that the money can be there if necessary. The money's always there to build some massive concrete dildo in the middle of a fucking city in this country. But, it's not there to put down to film. We can't do that. Yeah, let's put a glass dildo in the middle of fucking London. Let's leave it there for fucking 30 years, derelict, with no one actually moving into it, because that's a good use of money. That's an investment. Jesus. Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Second thoughts. YouTube video, Gaza is testing ground, makes very good points about how Israel is showing the US and other evil states how to suppress and control their populations. Yeah. I have no doubt that there will be a terrorist atrocity committed against the USA, which Trump will use as a pretext for bringing in martial law, and then America's beyond fucked. But it's all right, because the people in Congress, they might wear one white glove. That'll show them. Ooh, maybe they could hold a paddle that says no. Maybe I should get one myself. I just hold it up now and again and just go, no. I won't actually do a show. I won't talk about anything. We won't have a discussion. I'll just hold the thing up saying no. Anyway, France is stepping up to replace US intelligence. This is quite a big story, and it looks like it's the end of Five Eyes. Fine, leave America out of it, and we can share intelligence between Britain, France, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Bring more countries in. And just expel America. Well, you have to expel America. This is the thing I was thinking about, like NATO. You don't necessarily have to say, right, you're out, or Orban or Hungary, go and piss off. But what you can do is you can start a new club that's a bit like NATO that doesn't have America in it. It's as simple as that, and just let NATO sort of fade away. Take the people who worked in NATO and put them into this new thing. So you're not actually kicking America out. You're just quiet quitting. Yeah, we're still members. Hey, America, you want to kick us out? You can. We're not asked. Maybe it'll just whittle down to Hungary and America, the two members of NATO, the North Atlantic Twat Association organization, who had the dildo on the morning brew bingo card. Says Anya. Everyone. Five Eyes needs an upgrade. Yes, we do. We need an upgrade to 50 eyes. I'm not even kidding. Get the Commonwealth on board. Get countries all around the world. When we had the Coalition of the Willing against the terrorism act of 9/11, there were countries like Palau who got on board with that Coalition of the Willing. So they got to say, there's 127 countries around the world. Because, it's a bit like movie stars. There's only about 50 movie stars. There's not that many. And then there's just other people you kind of recognize. You don't really know what they're in or what they've been on or whatever. But there's probably about 200 top-rated working actors in the world right now who appear in actual movies with, meaty speaking parts. And there's not many of them. And then countries are a bit like that. There's only 50 of them that you've heard of, really. You might have heard of other countries, but you don't really know much about them. And then there's sort of 150 countries that, are just getting on with it, which is fine. I don't expect every country in the world to be like America, with a saucepan on its head, hitting the saucepan with a spoon, going, "Look at me, donk, 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 look at me." But there you go. That's Trump. Trump is like, or America. It's kind of like that kid with a really, really noisy engine on their Ford Fiesta. They've souped up their Ford. They've put a Cosworth engine in their Ford Fiesta, and they've got a massive fucking exhaust, and it goes up the hill, and it's up the hill, and it's just like, oh God, everyone, look at me! I'm a very special boy. All right, mate. Anyway, we've got a super chat coming in from Ivan. Thank you very much. Ivan, the incompetent monster in the US, keeps changing his mind, bringing back horrible memories of the numpty we had during COVID. You can't do this. Yes, you can. You can't do this. Yes, you can, etc., etc. Says Ivan, talking about Boris Johnson. Yeah, stay in, go out, stay in. Go back to school for one day. Don't go out to school. Ring of fire, ring of resistance. But don't put people in nursing homes. Put people in nursing homes. There was quite a good piss take of that, wasn't there, by Matt Lucas at the time, and it was a bit spot on. I think it was during Bake Off, and loads of people got offended and went, "Hey, why are you taking the piss out of Boris Johnson?" I'm like, "It's fucking a clown. Why would you not take?" Umka, thank you very much for the €5 super chat. It's very kind of you. The US citizens still claim to have the oldest democracy, while they have the oldest oligarchy. They have the oldest democracy at all. Like Iceland's democracy predates theirs loads. Switzerland's democracy. Our democracy in this country has been around longer than they have. As a country, it's been around longer than they have. And we do still have a monarch. They haven't had any power. The last time that a monarch actually stopped Parliament doing anything Parliament wanted to do was, I think, 1707 or 1708. Someone look it up. Scottish Militia Act. I think it was Queen Anne. Someone really needs to look that up for me. But I think it's been over like 300 years. The Parliament's been in charge. And I know we didn't have universal suffrage by any stretch of the imagination, but it was seen as a democracy. Happy Friday! Jen says, I just got in with word of a huge glass dildo at the Graham Hughes Studios. Yes, we need to build more glass fucking dildos for the male architects who want to, put giant penises all over countries, cities, everywhere. It's just what countries do. Anyway, so we're talking about the global resistance, and Ukraine's military is scrambling to adapt now that US military and weapons have dried up, thanks to Trump. Trump has taken away what they need to protect themselves. 4 people died the night before last night. The energy infrastructure in Ukraine took a massive hit. They need that intelligence, and we need to scramble. We need to scramble to provide that for Ukraine. And just America's just pathetic response. This is just like unbelievable. Like the fact that 10 Democratic lawmakers in Congress joined with the fash, joined with the Republicans, joined with Trump and J.D. Vance and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert to censure a man for standing up against tyranny, for standing up against fascism. We shall overcome was drowned out by conservative jeering. Spineless centralists defended their vote. I wouldn't say they're centralist. If they had a special word for people who voted for the Nazis in the 1930s or supported the Nazis, but didn't really support all the horrible things they did. They just supported the nice things that the Nazis did. There was a word for them, a special word in German, and it's a bit hard to pronounce because I'm not a native German speaker, but it went something like this: Nazis. They called them Nazis because they voted for the Nazis, and we don't give a fuck why you voted for the Nazis. You are a Nazi if you vote for Nazis. End of. So these spineless. I don't even want to call them centralists because I think I'm pretty fucking central in my politics. So I don't want to call the fucking fascists who in the Democrats said it was about respect for the institution. Meanwhile, Trump shits all over that very institution. They had a vote to send military hardware and weapons to Ukraine. Last year, it went through their Congress. It went through their parliament. The president at the time signed it and went, yep, that can be a thing. That happens. And Trump said no. He stopped Parliament in America doing what Parliament in America wants to do. He stopped them. He fucking... Wow. Bloody fuck. Sorry for swearing all the time, but I feel like this is an era of, there needs to be swears. When needs must, need swears. And then we've got, the fact that America's continuing down this path. We're just seeing internal divisions. We're seeing the Democrats just fighting amongst themselves. We got this idea that sanctuary cities might become their own sort of micro-resistance group. We've got Boston, Chicago, Denver, New York are leading the way. But whether other cities will follow them to create sanctuary cities where they ignore Trump's ICE laws, rules, and everything, or will they be crushed by federal ICE forces? I mean, this is one of the things where the schizophrenic nature, and I know I shouldn't really use that word, but it's outdated. We don't really use it anymore. But that idea that you have two personalities in your head at one time, multiple personality disorder, I should probably say. And this idea that, at the same time, the federal government shouldn't be interfering in what the states want to do, but at the same time, the federal government keeps interfering in what the state wants to do when it suits them. When it suits them, it won't interfere when it comes to abortion or gay rights or gay marriage. The Supreme Court's trying to dial back on all that. But when it comes to, I don't know, New York having regulations so that every Tom, Dick, and Harry and paedophile can't go and buy an AR-15 and go and shoot up an elementary school. The Supreme Court overrules the state's decision on that particular right to buy a gun. They're like, no, everyone can buy a gun. Okay. Colin's got an idea. Thank you very much. He says, try saying twat instead of getting demonetized. I might do. There's two things I think Scousers say very well. One is twat, and the other one is gobshite. So I should maybe use them more. Trump is absolute gobshite. He really is. Irish people say gobshite really well as well. They can really pull it off. It's quite a beautiful way that they talk. And then you've got the Scouse like dirty bastard, which is phenomenal. You dirty bastard. Gotta get that in there. The dirty bastard. Gotta really fucking spit as you speak. You dirty bastard. So I just call Trump dirty bastard. Sounds good in Scouse. I think it sounds good. Sounds like, you know. So, can America wake up? I mean, what happens if Trump goes even further and a complete withdrawal from NATO and a full alignment with Putin? I know, like, people are like, Graham, you're going too far with this, but someone pointed out in Congress yesterday that what I've been saying for a while, if Trump was a Russian agent, what would he do differently? And someone in Congress went through 5 things that Trump has done that has absolutely delighted Putin, delighted the Kremlin, delighted Moscow. And I said, well, what would he do different? What would he do different if he was a Russian agent? I'm not saying he is a Russian agent. I'm just saying, what would he do differently if he was? And yes, that lawmaker was right. It was absolutely bloody right. Because, Mark Carney. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of the former Bank of England governor. Mark Carney. He's going to be standing for Prime Minister of Canada. Oh, just a little aside, going back to Canada for a moment. Sorry if you don't mind me sort of running from one topic to the other. So Trump said that he responded to Justin Trudeau saying, "Oh, he's just doing this to so he can stay as leader of Canada, and that they don't even they're so undemocratic. They don't. He won't even tell us when the election's going to take place." I'm just like, oh my god! Like, it's kind of impressive how stupid Trump is, but it's kind of also painful. It's really painful to me that someone can have this much power and know so little. Like, be that much of a fucking dickhead, but also have that much power. It's physically painful to me. So a couple of things. First of all, Justin Trudeau's fucking stepping down. Like, that's why there's going to be an election. It has to be before October this year, but it could be any time. But it has to be decided on by the Canadian Parliament once the new leader of Trudeau's party is decided, which will be this weekend, which I think is going to be Mark Carney. So once Mark Carney is in place, he can then put a motion forward in Parliament to say when they're going to have the election. Now, he might decide to wait till October. I think that would be a bad idea. I don't think he wants to do that. He wants to get in there right now and just have an election and have it over and done with, right? And I think he's going to do quite well. With all the anti-American sentiments right now, I don't think the Fash are going to do particularly well in this election in Canada. I can't see it. The Canadian flag, which was co-opted by the truckers against fucking COVID, all those fucking weirdos, in the truck convoy that they had in Canada, in the same way that the British flag, the British Union flag, has been co-opted by the right wing. And when Mo Farah had the flag in the 2012 London Olympics, and it felt like, yes, we got the flag back. We got it back from the far right. Well, and then they came back and said, no, we'll have that. And then ran with it with Brexit and Farage and all those bastards. But yeah, the Canadian flag has kind of been reclaimed now. Like, a lot of people are putting out the Canadian flag in defiance of America. So you're getting this swelling of national pride. And the people who have been calling out Trump the loudest, the people who haven't been trying to chummy up to the Trump regime before it got even got into power, like Polyev. I think this is going to go quite well. I don't know for the progressive parties in Canada, but the fact that Trump doesn't understand how Canadian politics works, even like at any level, and he's like, oh, he's just doing it to stay in power. He's literally resigning. He's literally leaving the job this week. Fucking idiot. But like, Americans can't understand that because they have their fixed terms and they're in there for the fixed term. Just no matter what they do, no matter what crimes they commit or how many women they rape, they are allowed to do whatever the fuck they like for 4 years, and then maybe we'll chuck them out for 4 years, then maybe we'll bring them back again. I don't know. Democracy. Ay. So yeah, I think the possibility of a full alignment and an alliance between Trump and Putin is very much on the cards, and it's something that we need to be very, very wary of. Trump doesn't give a fuck, right? This is a man who has no fucks to give. And we have to stop him before he goes too far, right? And the way we're going to stop him, and we can do this as well, we need to copy what Canada's doing, and we need to boycott America. We need to boycott American goods and services as much as we possibly can. Make a conscious effort not to shop, not to buy things from American companies. So you have the choice between Samsung or Apple, go for Samsung. If you have the choice between buying a Xbox or a PlayStation, buy a Sony PlayStation, etc. You know, we've got to think of ways of minimizing the amount of money that we are sending ourselves to America. It's not much per person, but if millions of us, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of us across Europe quietly quit America, these corporations who hold a lot of power, more power than ever in America, will see their stock market cap going down, their stocks going down, and they won't be happy because all their investments is in those stocks. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, but he is cash poor. His money is in the stocks that he owns, in SpaceX, in Tesla. Those stocks go bump, he's fucked. He will no longer be the richest man in the world, and he'll possibly go to jail, which is where he should have gone 5 years ago. But you know, whatever. Alistair Kerm, thank you very much, Alistair, for the for being a member. I haven't got a being a member pop up. I'm just going to say welcome new members, but I'll make a pop up that says member. Remember the members. Take a member berry. Yes, Alistair Kerm, thank you very much for being a member for 5 months. That was a quick 5 months. Felt like a month. Did. It's a bit weird. But you know, it's all been going on. Richie Goth, how you doing, Richie Goth? Hope you're having a great day. Phil did a good video yesterday. Will Trump supply Russia with weapons now? I've thought the same thing for a while now. Yes, I think he will. I think he absolutely will. Because they've got fuck all weapons. Who's supplying them at the moment? Iran, North Korea. You know what? Trump's very much in that vein, you know, a theocracy like Iran. He wants a totalitarian dictatorship like North Korea, in which everyone has to swear allegiance to a leader or they get killed. That's what he wants. Sonic Shadow says, again, I'm a few minutes behind, but I love the word Czech Republic in a Scouse accent. Yeah, I can see how that works. It's funny because like Scouse is the only accent that I can really do reliably because of reasons. Alex says British films have grossed 246.3 million UK, 6 to 7 billion globally, gaining market share, but Hollywood dominated with 25 billion worldwide, 70 to 80% market share. British films. I mean, we don't really make British films. If we do, they tend to be American funded. Even if they're shot over here with British actors, British director, British cast, British crew. Like I did on a soundstage in bloody Elstree or somewhere. It doesn't matter. Like the money's going over to America. We're not getting the money out of that. You know, the residuals. Christopher says, we'll be interested to see how SpaceX is valued after last night's failure. Starship remains far away from being capable of generating profits. Yeah, $100 million that cost yesterday. That expensive firework that Elon Musk put into the sky. So for all the people in the Bahamas to watch explode in the night sky and go, wow, that looks cool. Hey, Mom, come look at this. Yeah, rocket technology. It's not rocket science until it is. Yeah, Elon Musk is a shit knobhead businessman. He doesn't care about workers' rights. He doesn't care about motivation. Like, one of the reasons why some internet companies did well and others didn't so much was a lot about the culture of what it was like working for these places. Places that people enjoyed working for tended to do better because people put their heart and soul into it. They were excited. They were motivated. But Elon Musk is the great demotivator. He goes around making people go, I don't want to go to work. Whether that's working for SpaceX or working for Tesla, where he's banned people from joining union. Well, not banned. He can't do that. But, you know, made it very difficult for people who work for him to join unions. And now he's doing it with the American workforce for the federal government. He's running around saying you're sacked, you're not sacked, you are sacked, you write 5 reasons why you shouldn't be sacked. He's giving them all these stress, making their job completely unenjoyable. Because he's a sadistic little shit. But that's not a way to run a business. It's really, really not a way to run a business. Way to run a business into the ground. But I don't think he cares, because Trump and Musk don't care about the actual physical goods or the rockets or the satellites or the cars or any of that shit. All they care is about making their stocks more money, making their Bitcoin more money. And we saw one of the biggest heists of the century just this week, and it's hardly been mentioned. There was someone put $100 million, like a tenth of a billion, on Bitcoin, on crypto coins, right? On a loan. So it basically, if that went down at all the next day, that person would have to pay back all the money plus interest. Like it would be an absolute disaster. It's a really, really risky financial decision to take. It's a really risky financial thing to do. And they put 100 million on it, and then literally a few hours later, Trump tweeted that he was going to start a Federal Reserve of cryptocurrency. So that person cashed out. I mean, the value of these crypto coins went through the fucking roof, and that person probably left home that evening with $1 billion. That's not insider trading on a scale that is like biblical. I mean, I don't know what is. We've got Gina Lefty there. Gina in a Scouse accent though. Gina. Yeah, true. Sorry about that. Yeah, we've also got Ivan. Thank you very much for the £10 super chat, Ivan. That's very kind of you. Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary, the equivalent of our Chancellor, called Justin Trudeau a numbskull. Cheap personal attacks which have no room whatsoever in our politics. Well, no. I mean, look, I'm happy to call people fucking dickheads, but you know, I'm just a pundit on the internet. Whereas, yeah, states people should know better, but they obviously don't. Let's go over to the papers. Oh no! Before we do that, Gareth T, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, my friend. My uncle was mentally ill, and he believed James Bond. Yet he spoke more sense than Trump. Yeah. When my dad was, stages of dementia, he spoke more truth than bloody Trump did. He didn't know what was going on. Science lives matter. Statistically, wealthy people like that are not at all interested in making money, but using their power. Money, greed is a simplistic understanding of power presented to the masses as it's all they get. Yeah. Alexander says, bring down Tesla. Couldn't agree more. That's the way to get to Musk. There's already a movement in place doing that. Tesla sales have gold everywhere. Yeah, in Toulouse, there was a Tesla showroom that was torched. We don't know whether it was arson. We don't know whether it was an insurance job. We don't know whether it was an electrical fault. We don't know at the moment. But yeah, what a shame. See my tears. And there's a weird trend at the moment. And I don't know if it's real, because it could just be someone changing the badges on Photoshop. But apparently there are Tesla cars, and the owners have taken the Tesla badges off and put badges for like Mazda on there and other car companies to make it look like it's a Mazda CX-5. I don't think Mazda make an electric CX-5, but whatever. So people don't think that it's actually a Tesla. Blue Badger 88. The only time a test isn't when you've combined several bad failed ideas and planning to run it at the probable detriment of a population or environment. Yeah, Blue Badger. But I mean, look, we can look at SpaceX as a really good example. Obviously, the scientists working for SpaceX are just demotivated. Like, he's demotivated them. They don't give a fuck. They're not doing the job properly because he's made it a toxic workplace, a shit place to live, a shit place to work, I should say. He's trying to do that with the American government. He's trying to do that with America. He's trying to do that for the world. These horrible, nasty little psycho motherfuckers, they don't want us all having a good time, seeing each other, having a dance on the fucking beach. They don't want that, right? Having a fucking barbecue, in the sun. They don't want that. They just want everyone miserable and fucking depressed, right? A boot stamping on a human face forever. But we're not going to give them that. And one of the greatest bits of defiance, I feel, is joy. It's humor. The best revenge is living a good life, you know? That's the best revenge. Because that's what these motherfuckers do not want. They do not want it for us. They don't want us to say, oh, well, you know, things are shit. They are shit. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They are shit. But you know what? We're keeping up our spirits. You can't destroy our fucking spirits, mate. That's what you can't do. And that's why fascism always fails whenever it has been tried. And it's been tried so many times in so many countries around the world. Like, when will we get the fucking memo? Fascism always fails. Why? Because it tries to subdue the human spirit. It tells people not to make jokes and not have a good time and not enjoy their life. And people can put up with that for a little bit. They can. But then it comes to a point where people are like, what am I even here for? Like, I'm here on this planet right now for a good time, not a long time. My God, what is even the point if we can't laugh and dance and smile and joke? And it fucks them off so much. It fucks them off so much. Just look at how Trump gets fucking upset when people laugh at him. Look at him rage. Look at him go. There's an argument this whole thing started because President Obama at the time took the piss out of him, took the piss out of Trump at the press the press association dinner, which is supposed to be like a little bit of light ribbing. But at the time, Trump was going after him. Trump was the leader of the birther movement, claiming that Obama, because he was black, wasn't a real American. Unlike Trump, who's orange, so obviously he's a real fucking, I don't know, Martian. Yeah, it's they hate it. They hate it, and that's why I think it's really important that we do this kind of stuff. We had the Friday night social, and we just fucking crack a couple of beers open, and we have a laugh, and make some jokes, and take the piss, and just go. You know, it is a bit shit, but we're the resistance. We are the resistance. We're not America at the moment. I'm just going to head over to the papers for a little bit. We've got this story in the Daily Mail, which is really weird at the top here. My friend Megan, and my message to all those hate watching her news show so they can snark about it. There's a friend of Megan writing for the Mail. Didn't think I'd see that. And then we've got misogyny, that fuel killer. David Hasselhoff's former wife shoots herself. And then we've got this story about, listen to this. So this is on the front cover of the Daily Mail. Crossbow maniac who murdered BBC commentator's wife and 2 daughters watched sickening Andrew Tate videos before slaughter. Andrew Tate needs to be arrested, put on trial for his many crimes against women and humanity, and he needs to be put into a box for the rest of his life. The size of the box, I don't give a fuck. A box. Put him in a fucking box. Peace talks start next week in Saudi Arabia. Zelensky reveals that was at the EU summit. Farage and £650,000 outside Westminster, but Clacton voters don't seem to mind. Well, it would help if they had a mind, and then they might mind, but they don't have a mind. And then we've got Deliciously Ella. I sold 1.5 million books, but I had no idea what I was doing. I'm going to look this up because I'm going to just make a punt here. Just looking at it and seeing that picture and seeing how smug it is. And like, I just fell out of bed one morning and sold 1.5 million books. I'm going to see if she went to private school. So you're going to have to just bear with me for a moment because I need to find out who the fuck she is. If someone knows who she is, please let me know in the chat. Ivan, thank you very much for the super chat. Yes, Trump always wants to have his damn dancers and drunk shenanigans in his tuxedos. Where he's doing this, his porno move. Yes. David Faulkner, yeah, but he doesn't want to see anyone else dancing. He doesn't want to see anyone else having a good time. He wants himself to pretend to be having a good time because that's how he feels he should be. But he's not really having a good time. With America going rogue with Russia, hopefully the EU will consider fostering closer ties with us here in China. China's being a bit worrying at the moment. Thanks for the super chat, David. They seem to be gearing up for war, mate. Like the economy has changed for a war footing. President Xi is he president, leader, general secretary? Oh, anyway, he is stockpiling food and stuff like it does, and fuel. And they're cutting, what, 5 undersea cables to Taiwan have been cut in the last few weeks, or attacked or damaged. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Yeah, so I'm just gonna look up this Tate, this Ella woman, sorry. Ella, iPaper, author. What else can I write? 1.5. Sorry, my keyboard is on the other side of my microphone, so it's Ella Walker. How TikTok has changed. Ella Morgan. News, maybe? News? Anyone know who this Ella person is? Does anyone know who's? I'll put deliciously Ella. Is she a baker or something? No. Oh, Ella Mills. Ella Mills from rugby. Did she go to rugby? Ella Mills. Okay. Ella Mills. Thank you. British writer, and she's part of the Sainsbury's family. She attended fucking hell, fuck me, every way but Tuesday. She went to rugby school. She went to rugby. And then she's there on the front cover of the newspaper. Fucking £50,000 a year rugby. I sold 1.5 million books, but I didn't know what I was doing. Oh my God, we need a class war. Fuck me, I can't explain to you. We have a 2-tier schooling system in this country. 2-tier schooling. Right note. 2-tier schooling, right? If you go to the pleb school, like what 93% of us did, good luck with everything. You know, you can work really hard every fucking day of your life and still barely make enough money to have to pay tax. Still not make enough money to have to pay back your student loan. My student loan was written off last year because I've literally never made enough money in 1 year to have to pay off my student loan. But, you know, Lord Sainsbury's fucking daughter over here, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just happened to have, you're not going to believe this, but I did. I sold 1.5 million books. Fuck off. So hard. Anyway, she's going to have to be added to my privateschoolmafia.com list. She'll be the 1,223rd name on the list. Fuck me. Right, anyway, soap actors don't get the credit they deserve. That's from Siobhan Feenan. I don't know who that is, but she's in something, I guess. Gen Z jobless face benefits cuts if they aren't looking for work. That's really shit. Rachel Reeves, don't do that. And then we've got a posh kid with a staffy from Staffordshire. No, it's not a staffy. I'm joking. We'll become the youngest person to show a dog at Crufts today with his smooth fox terrier Penny. A record number of foreign entrants amongst the 18,500 dogs in competition. Freddie Osborne. Look at little Freddie here. Do you think little Freddie grew up in a manor estate house? Yeah, probably. Ella Mills, another one for the private school mafia. Yeah. Thank you very much, Serendipity Journey, for the £2 super chat. I love the way they didn't give a surname because these people they don't need to have a surname. It's just Nigella. It's just Nigella. We don't need to have a surname. Although, I mean, it's a bit mad, isn't it? Like that Nigel Lawson had a daughter and he went, I wanted a son. I would have called him Nigel Jr. Oh, well, I'll just call her Nigella. Sounds like something you put in your mouth, ulcers. Anyway, Trump is encouraged by Zelensky peace talk, more importantly. And we've got US and Ukraine to discuss plan in Saudi Arabia. Sounds like a trap. It's a trap. Ex-soldier watched Tate videos before fatal attacks. This needs to be said more. This guy who murdered and he raped his ex-girlfriend and murdered her mother, and murdered her sister after watching Tate videos. Tate should put him in a box. Put him in a box. Sentence him. Sentence him to spend the rest of his life when no one can see him. No one can hear from him. That's it. He's directly responsible for the horrific murders of 3 women through his misogynistic bullshit that he touts on the internet to impressionable young men who are angry at the world because, I don't know, they can't get laid. Twiggy and Sadie Frost on sexism, self-esteem, and the swinging 60s. Okay, I don't know if Sadie Frost remembered the swinging 60s, but I don't think she's old enough, but never mind. A watershed moment. EU leaders agree huge defence spending rise, which has to happen. Taking central stage, Olivia Rodrigo, Neil Young, and the 1975, headed up by a guy called Matty something, who is privately educated. He's the son of Denise Richards, Denise Richards, someone off the TV. I don't know. Matty Healy, his name is. Private school mafia, and he's a bit right wing. So there you go. ULEZ has improved London air rapidly. People in London are breathing significantly cleaner air since the expansion of the city's ultra-low emission zone. ULEZ has worked. They are all the little dick brigade me things just saying. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we can't all be blessed with, giant manhood, whatever. But I mean, just it doesn't mean that you have to not get out there and meet people. I mean, it's kind of easier to meet people now than ever before. We've got Tinder. It makes it a little bit easier. And although there is that point of like getting to know someone before you fall for them was quite nice, like in the past, but we don't really do that anymore. I don't know. Ivan Ambrose, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. I said not yes. Sorry, mate. I didn't read your message properly. I'm sorry. I feel really bad now. You've given me 20 quid for not reading your message properly. Jesus. It's really small on my screen. The point I was making is Trump always wants a good time, but other people can't. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. P.S. Please call us everyday people, not plebs, as anyone watching this who's not on our side can capitalize on it. Okay, yeah. All right. Everyday working people. No, it doesn't even say that. It's a weird thing that the Labour just say all the time. Working people, doing stuff for working people. I can see where they're coming from because they're trying to say, the people who don't work, the people who just make their money out of their money. But that's mad, isn't it? You get taxed more on the work that you do with your hands, the work that you do physically. You get taxed more on that than the work that your money does where you don't have to do anything. You've got money, so you make money. You get taxed less on that. It's mad, isn't it? And Trump has let the tater tot back in the US. Yeah, exactly. That's because he's a Nazi. The influence list, 25. Oh, by the way, there is an investigation going on into this gobshite Tate in Florida. So I hope they arrest him and throw away the key. The influence list, 2025's most exceptional women. Julia Donaldson, Layla Moran, privately educated. Zoe Keldar, Chioma Nyanda. And then we've got Afu Kaye. We've got a Joke Badake, Keely Hodgkinson, Jess Phillips, and then Kathy Newman, Tasha Gorey, Carla Denya, and Kemi Badenoch, privately educated. Kemi Badenoch is on the list. Okay, I'm going to go through them and see which ones went to private school. I'm sure some of them did. I know Layla Moran did. Russia warns PM's peace plan would trigger direct war. Okay, I'm up for it. Your army's fucked, mate. Come on, then. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go, Russia. Come on. No, I'm really fucking serious about this. Let's fucking go. Let's dance. You want to do this? After depleting your fucking everything you've got, your weaponry, your soldiers, everything, fighting against the war against Ukraine. Losing half your fucking Black Sea fleet against a country that doesn't even have a fucking navy. Come on, dickheads. Come on, Russia. Come on, let's have a fight. Let's do it now. Come on, let's go outside. Let's go at it. Let's do it. Fuck it. Can't be arsed with your shit anymore. I'm sorry. I never thought I'd be a warmonger or a hawk or whatever they call people who call for this kind of shit. But I'm sick of Russia. I'm sick of Russia interfering in our democracies. I'm sick of Russia making our lives a fucking misery, making us stressed every fucking day. They want to go, let's go. Don't give them time to rearm while we faff around for a while. We've got the men, we've got the people, we've got the people power, we've got the firepower. We could do some really serious fucking damage to Russia. Some serious fucking damage. Nice hermitage you've got there, motherfuckers. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Anyway, Nottingham A&E notes probe records illegally accessed claim. Ottawa's families fear they have been betrayed again, failed even before they died. The 3 victims of the Nottingham killer may have been let down in death as well. Hospital bosses fear staff illegally accessed the A&E records of Ian Coates, Barnaby Webber, and Great O'Malley Kumar. The allegations bring fresh pain to the loved ones after a report last month detailed missed chances to stop schizophrenic Valdo Calocane, who 33, who stabbed the trio in June 2023. Evil fueled by watching Tate videos. A jilted former soldier watched videos of Andrew Tate before he murdered his ex-girlfriend, her sister, and their mother in a revenge rampage. It's just so sad. It's just so fucking sad. And then convicted of almost unspeakable rape before his killings. He admitted to the killings. He denied the rape, and he's been found guilty of that. Throw away the fucking key. Throw away the key. And also arrest that Tate creep. He's got blood on his hands. Footy crisis has 5-a-side pictures ripped up for La-di-da paddle courts. Okay, all right, Star. 1 in 4 knows a female victim of violence. Shock findings of Metro campaign survey. I do. Canada and Mexico win tariff reprieve in Trump's latest climb down on trade. Months pause for compliant goods. Second U-turn in as many days. More volatility for US stocks. Yeah, I hear the stock market loves volatility more than anything else. And then the stupid bloody Tory graph. I'm angry and poorer over school tax raid, says privately educated Alexander Armstrong, who I assume he sends his kids to private school so they can have all the opportunities that he can fucking have to do a really, really boring quiz show. Have you ever seen the quiz show that he presents? Is he the one who does that quiz show where you have to do lists of things? It's so fucking boring. Like, I know that there's if you know all the stops of the underground or all the elements of the periodic table and you can recite them, at the top of your head, I understand that's quite a cool thing to be able to do, right? I can't do the underground thing, but I could probably do the periodic table at a push. But it bores the shit out of everyone watching it. Like, oh my God, what's it called? It's on the other side when the chaser's on. It's not tipping point. It's pointless. Pointless. The presenter of Pointless. It's so boring. And he's sitting there talking to Hugh Dennis, who also went to private school, by the way. And they're going, yeah, so the capital of Mongolia. Yeah, it's Ulaanbaatar. Have you been there, Hugh? Oh, yes, I've been to Ulaanbaatar. Yes, of course, took the family over there. It was a lovely trip. We feasted on horse meat all day long. And I'm sitting there going, are you going to ask a fucking question? No, back to Alexander Armstrong. Well, Hugh, when I was younger and Daddy took me on safari, the joy we had on Daddy's yacht, insurmountable. It really was. We had, and you can see the contestants just sort of standing there because they have to stand up. I think Hugh Grant or Hugh Dennis, what's his name? Is Hugh Thingy, Hugh Fenley Whittlesell. Everyone called Hugh went to private school. Have you noticed that? He's sitting there. He's talking, and these poor bastards having to stand up and listen to these posh people prattle on about how posh they are. It's supposed to be a quiz show. Ask a fucking question. Jesus. Anyway, should we go back to the papers? Oh no, we got another super chat from Ivan. Ivan, you're being very generous this morning. Thank you. Sorry to go on about the term working people, which the government's really using as demeaning. Not everyone can be paid work, but it doesn't mean they are doing nothing. Yeah, I know. That's why I just thought it was a bit of a mad sort of thing to say. But I guess they were trying to say that it was for people who were actually doing a job rather than the retirees who were never going to vote for Labour anyway. And children who aren't allowed to work, but then again, they're not allowed to vote. The one that winds me up is hardworking families. When they say hardworking, so it's not just working people, it's hardworking people. It's got all the hardworking people. Like, there's people out there who don't really work that hard and they just get money for not working hard. And I think that's really... it's not great, is it? Like, I mean, the people who work the hardest get paid the least. The people who clean the fucking sewers do not get paid as much as people who shuffle money around on a computer all day. Other people's money around, Alistair's getting off because he's got things to do. Catch some of you later today, arriving in Glasgow, time to go. Oh, cool. Pension fund giants boycott UK arms firms. Avia and Royal London accused of failing to help boost defence on ethical grounds. Oh, fuck off. Headscuff, garbage to call Trump pro-Russia. Yeah, all right, mate, if you say so. Two-tier sentencing, Quango could be stripped of its power. Two-tier schooling, is that? Is that two-tier schooling? Is it? And then there's a picture of Zelensky with Giorgia Meloni, the leader of Italy. They look like they're about to have a snog. Anyway, so I better go because it's 10 past. 12 past. It's 12 past 10. It's 10 past 12. No, it's 10 past 12. 12 past 10. The best was red or black. Lol. There was a guy in Russia, YouTube channel around Russia. Oh my God, you should see how they live, survive. Yeah, it's not fun. I don't want to be Russian. I don't want to speak Russian. I don't like it. It's not a happy language. If Russia were that powerful, then why are the North Korean armed forces fighting for you? Well, exactly. They're on their fucking knees at the moment. And, you know, when they go low, fucking kick them. Kick them! And the people in the chat are like, yeah, fuck them. And then people are like, Graham, no, we want peace. I'm like, yeah, we can get peace if you get rid of fucking Putin. Let's get rid of him. Just bomb the shit out of fucking Moscow tonight. Just, there you go. See you later, mate. He's giving an address to the Kremlin. We get wind of it. Bomb the shit out of the Kremlin. The Ukrainians managed to get a drone all the way to the Kremlin. I mean, I'm sure we can get a few stealth bombers. If we have any. Do we have stealth bombers? I don't know. Duke Vengeance says, I don't care for pedantry. Well, I don't care for people correcting me. That's like, never put that in your Tinder profile or your Grindr profile. Never put the words, I like to correct people in your hobbies. Don't put it on your CV. You're not going to get very far. Do you know what I like doing? I like correcting people because everyone loves being corrected. Look, if I get something really wrong, fair enough. But it's the ones where it's like, I go, and so 37% of people said blah, 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 blah. And then someone gets in the chat and they go, actually, Graham, I think you'll find that it was 36.9%. And I'm like, thank you. Choose your battles. Choose your battles, people. Choose your battles. Okay, so normally I'm back at 1 o'clock for the agenda, but Phil is having internet problems today. He's getting a new router, or router, as they say in America, because they can't speak right, delivered this afternoon, we hope. So as soon as that gets delivered, we'll do an episode of the agenda. So it could be at 5 o'clock, could be at 6 o'clock today. We'll try and knock one out, and it will be centered on British politics. So we'll try not to be going on about Trump and Elon Musk and all that shit too much. But you know. Oh, Ivan, another £10. Ivan, you're being incredibly generous. Thank you. Graham, I'm particularly thinking of people who can't do paid work due to medical reasons, i.e. mentally or physically for disability reasons. It doesn't mean they're doing nothing, though. Yeah, absolutely, Ivan. I completely agree. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a helpful term that they say working people because it's not a catch-all. And I get what you're saying about not using the word pleb to describe us, but I need a way of saying the people who didn't go to private school. So I could use staties. Can I say staties or staties? Right? Can I use that? That's all right, isn't it? That's kind of like a really good catch-all, actually. I think. I might be wrong. He says with trepidation. I think this is a really good idea of mine. But yeah, staties. If I say staties, it means the 93% of us who went to state school rather than private school. So yeah, us staties who are, victims of two-tier schooling. Two-tier opportunities in life. All the fun, well-paid jobs go to the private school mafia. All of them. Like, if it was just like, I don't know, 99% of those jobs went to them, that would be galling enough. But it's 100%. It's like all of them. Like, oh my God. Like, I cannot quite believe going through the lineup for Glastonbury this year, just how many of these young and upcoming artists whose music's pretty good. I'm not saying they're not talented, but they all had daddy's money behind them. We don't. And therefore it's creating this really fucked society in which you have this absolute bubble of the rich who live their rich bubble lives and they never, ever, ever bother spending any time with anyone who's lower middle class or heaven forfend working class, and they don't know what's going on, and they watch stuff like Benefit Street on Channel 4 and think that's reality. That's what the reality is for the vast majority of us, when it's not. It's absolutely not. Working class people I know are some of the most hard working people, And yeah, they like to party. Yeah, they like to go to Benidorm and get a tan and have some drinks. Yeah, fine. So they're not hurting anyone. What's the problem? Stop looking down your nose and going, yeah, well, they don't like the opera, so there's nothing down for them. I mean, fuck off. Anyway, my child of the 50s, we had so many opportunities because of the post-war labour movement. Yes. I was just thinking, right, before I go, very quickly, because I do have to get going. I've got somewhere to be today. When I was growing up, I was born in 1979. So for the first 18 years of my life, the Tories were in power. And Liverpool was like this. It was horrible. The city centre was falling apart. There were two disgusting car parks, Mount Pleasant, which is very unpleasant, still there, and there was Paradise Street, which is some like bastardized vision of paradise, which was a concrete, piss-soaked bloody nightmare. Multi-story car park. The city centre had this park, Gervais Park. It was fucked. There was a hotel called the Moat House, which is like, like a flat roof pub is a bit disconcerting. This was a flat roof fucking hotel. It was all concrete. There was this idea that they were going to build a walkway in the sky so all the cars could buzz around the city centre, putting pollution everywhere, and the people could walk above the pollution and inhale it and then die of lung cancer. And that was like half finished. I remember playing as a kid on areas that had been bombed by the Luftwaffe 40 years earlier, and the old railway sidings that weren't there anymore. We played in disused, abandoned railways and abandoned warehouses. I mean, it was shit, right? 1997, Labour got in, and I went. My girlfriend at the time was doing a PGCE after university, so it would have been like 2000, 2001. And she was working in a school, and like just seeing the difference between that school and the school that I went to. They had new textbooks, they had computers, they had brightly lit classrooms, they had proper desks. They had the school I went to. We still had inkwell holes in the desks, right? We had textbooks from the 1970s that had knobs drawn on every page. I mean, well, that was my fault because I drew them. But I mean, if I hadn't, someone else would have. But we had no lockers. Like, we didn't even have lockers to put our books in. So we'd walk around all day between lessons with our backpacks or our bags filled with really heavy fucking books that we needed to take to each lesson. I mean, it was because we didn't have lockers. We didn't have lockers to put. The paint was peeling off the walls. The computers we were using were old fucking, I don't know, Acorns or Archimedes or some such shit. Like everything was and then I went to this school, I think it was in Glossop or somewhere, and it was like amazing. I was like, oh my God, it's so light. There's like, that's all the kids were having for lunch, and it was decent fucking food. It wasn't just beige stuff that you put in the oven. It was quite amazing. And then I went back to my old school about 10 years after I left for a filming job, and I couldn't believe it was the same school. The amount of money that Labour had put in to schools and education just to completely turn it around. Liverpool itself got the capital culture in 2008. We got a whole new city centre. Like, with the whole of the city just changed. Edge Lane was completely relaid. There was so much going on. There were things being built. It was, I didn't agree with all the architecture, but oh my God, there was money coming into my city. It looked fucking awesome. And then in 2010, the Tories got in and it stopped. I was in Liverpool last weekend and I was just walking around, just thinking about the fact that nothing's been built. Nothing's been built since the Tories got in. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just been like a straight line. That's it. Just like it was going up, 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 up. Tories get in, straight line. And the things that were built 15 years ago, they're all falling apart now because they're not being maintained. And the good bits of the city centre that were built, 20 years ago, that's the only good bits. Like the other bits that needed a bit of development have just been left to rack and ruin because councils have got no money. No one wants to invest. The Tories are in power. So I'm hoping it's going to turn around again now at Labour. But I mean, I just found that really remarkable that I can honestly just cap off certain periods of my life where the Tories are in charge and there was no money for northern cities, no money for the working class, no money for anyone except for their toff mates. And then we had 13 years of Labour and things got better demonstrably. You could see it everywhere. Liverpool, we got 1.9 billion pounds from the Objective One funding from the EU. Fucking incredible. That really helped us. And then the Tories take us out of the fucking EU. Anyway, right, I'll let you go. Like I say, I'll be back later this afternoon with Phil for the agenda. I don't know what time it's going to be, so I'll post it later. So just keep an eye out. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon. Give us a like on the way out. Thank you so much for the chat. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry for going off on one about random shit, but you know what the show's like. And until next time, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.